Hello, hey, it's me. So today, as you can tell from the title, we're making a fancy shawl dress. So the willingness to make this video has been very back and forth for me. At first I was like, when I announced that I was going to be working on a fancy shawl regalia, I was like, well, I'm going to make a video for the shawl and then I'll make a video for the dress. And fully intending on both of those being vlogtorial, tutorial style videos. And then as I was making the tutorial for the fancy shawl, I just kind of thought to myself, maybe I shouldn't make this tutorial for the dress because I've already done the extensive tutorials for the jingle dress in my Jingle Dress Chronicles series. If you haven't seen that, I'll link it. But I gave a ton of information about like measurements and fabrics and like how to put things together. And I feel like a lot of that can be applied to making a dress for your fancy shawl as well. So if you're watching this video because you're looking for a tutorial and information, go check out the Jingle Dress Chronicles series. Of course, you're not making a jingle dress, but still you can learn how to take measurements and draft patterns, a basic dress pattern anyway. My other suggestion is to take a trip to the fabric store, like Joann's or Michael's, wherever you go, to get dress patterns, and you can find just basic dress patterns there too, and you can use those for making your fancy shawl dress. I draft my own patterns though, but this video isn't going to be tutorial. I'm gonna vlog it. I'm gonna show you how I make my fancy shawl dress. Let me show you some of what I got. So I'll of course link the fancy shawl video as well, but this is my shawl. These are the colors I have here. We have black satin, silver satin, we've got like this light blue, and then we have a dark blue. Yeah, so this is what I have here. And part of the inspiration was, well, I wanted the shawl to emulate the raven, but also I have a fully beaded set. I intend on wearing my fully beaded cape with this outfit as well. So I was trying to sort of match my fully beaded set. I still have the same fabrics that I used on the shawl. The dress is going to be mostly silver. So the shawl is mostly black, the dress is going to be mostly silver. And then I also have this blue sparkly tulle that the glitter has been falling off of. So the glitter's not going to last forever. On the fabric anyway, it's going to last forever in the house. I also have this invisible gray zipper that was as like close to the silver color I could get. It is 20 to 22 inches. So for this dress, I think what I'm going to do is place it on the back and have it go down further. Unlike say my jingle dress where I used a zipper that was like to here, this one's going to be longer, and it's going to be an invisible zipper. And yeah, I picked up some more rickrack, and then I'm also going to dig into my big old basket of ribbon that I have over there, and place some ribbons in different areas. And where's my sketch? If you watch my weekly vlogs, you've already seen this, but I drew out a sketch of what I want to do for my fancy shawl dress. And I also talked about in the vlogs how I had a million ideas for a dress and didn't know which one to pick, but I decided to just go for it, and I landed on a dress with a circle skirt that is over top of like an underskirt. So this underskirt is going to be black, and then that right here is going to be this ribbon rickrack, and I might even throw a couple ribbons on there, I don't know. And then the circle skirt is going to be silver with this blue tulle over it. And as for this blue tulle, I think I have like just enough fabric, maybe not even enough. We're gonna see how that goes. But the top here is going to be silver. And then for the sleeves, I haven't really made up my mind whether I want to have the silver satin be the sleeves as well, or if I wanted some of this tulle. But because the circle skirt is going to take up so much of this tulle, I don't know if I'm going to have enough. So I'm going to, I guess, wait until towards the end before I decide what the sleeves are going to be made out of. The first step for me then is to dig out my pattern paper and take some measurements and start drafting a pattern. So this dress is taking me so much longer than it typically takes me to make things, and that's because I've never made a circle skirt before, so I've been having a lot of difficulty with it. But I have it down in my brain now. But the only thing is, let me flip the camera and show you. I'm going to have to get more fabric. This isn't enough. It would be enough if I was making just a basic dress, but I really want that circle skirt look because when you twirl, the skirt opens. And I want like the peekaboo skirt underneath. As you can see, I have part of the pattern underneath. I haven't finished making the paper pattern yet, but this is only part of it. If you can see right here, that is a marking for the waist part of the circle skirt. So you cut like this corner out, and then from the edge of your waist, that's where you measure the length of the skirt. And I want the skirt to be kind of long, like mid-calf, and I want it to start up at my actual waist area, so like around the belly button, not down by the hips. So it'll be 30 inches from this mark down, so it's going to end probably like right there and then go all the way up to like right there. So a circle skirt takes a lot of fabric, and I knew that, but I didn't know just how much fabric a circle skirt requires. Right here is a fold. I have to cut the pattern on the fold, and then it'll produce two pieces, a front and a back, and then you put those together on the side. Okay, excuse my voice, I'm a little out of breath. Anyway, I think I found a solution. So I created a new fold. What I did was I figured with the almost 14 inches for the waist portion and then the 30 inches for the length of the skirt, if I combine that, I took that measurement and measured out how much fabric and length I need. And then, so basically, this circle skirt is going to end like right here, and then cut it out. And that's the piece that I need. And then this right here is what I have remaining. So by forming a new fold, like this portion right here would have originally been cut in half. I would have had 2 pieces of this width here. But now I have 1 piece because I moved the fold up. So I'm hoping I'll be able to get this. I have to fold this in half, create a fold. Right here gets cut on the fold, and then I need to do that twice with this. And I'm thinking that it might be pretty close to enough, so I won't have to buy more fabric. Quick little trick, you know, you don't have to leave things on the fold. Right here is the original fold that the fabric came with while it was on the bolt. So move things around. Here I'm cutting a back bodice piece, and the only difference between the back and the front is the depth of the neck hole. I also cut some muslin pieces just for the bodice. Oh, there isn't enough of this blue to cover the skirt. So now I gotta figure something out. I forgot to film me figuring it out, but basically I just switched the fold the other way, if that makes sense. And then I had enough. I also jumped ahead and finished off the neck hole by attaching the outer material, which is the satin, to the inner material, which is the muslin. What I'm showing you right now is me attaching 4 layers of material on the side seams of the bodice. Okay, so I have the big piece of tulle and I cut it in half, so this is actually 2 pieces of equally sized tulle. And as you could guess, it's not going to be that easy to work with. So I think what I'm going to do for each side seam, so there's 2 pieces here and I'm going to sew them together on these sides. I think I'm going to do a French seam for that, a really small French seam. And then the top doesn't need to be hemmed or anything because it's going to go into the waist seam. I'm going to connect it to the bodice along with the other skirt piece. But then the bottom, I thought of different ways to hem it, and I don't want to just do like a rolled hem or anything, and that's primarily just because it's going to be difficult. So this tulle doesn't really fray, so I'm going to leave the hem raw but put some ribbon right at the end of it, so it'll kind of look like that at the end. Now I'm going to put the ribbon, that blue ribbon, on the hem. I forgot to explain that I am stretching the tulle so that it attaches to the ribbon in a way where the hem will be stretched out and thus will kind of warp and form a really curly, curvy shape at the bottom. Yes, it did exactly what I wanted it to do, which produced like this frilly, warped, wavy hem. I love it so much. Okay, so the next step is to gather this and then put it on the waist. I don't know how I'm gonna do that yet. I don't know if I'm gonna gather it and attach it to the skirt and then attach both of those pieces to the bodice, or if I'm going to gather it and attach it to the bodice and then attach the silver portion of the skirt. I'm gonna think about that for a moment. So I decided to attach the tulle alone to the bodice and then afterwards attach the silver portion of the skirt. Here I'm fray blocking the bottom of the bodice with my overlock machine before moving on. Tulle is very fragile and difficult to work with, so I didn't want to use my shortcuts for gathering materials, as I didn't want to rip the tulle and those would have just not worked with it. So I literally just did it the old-fashioned way, where you just divide sections by half until you get tiny, tiny little sections. I decided to not have the black underskirt, which is what the rainbow rickrack was supposed to be applied on, so I am instead applying the rickrack onto the silver circle skirt. So I had to use 2 of these rickracks to do the hem of my skirt, and that's just because the hem is so wide, which means that you have to eventually join the rickrack at either end of it. I almost like completely lucked out. So when it came time to end a rickrack and start another one, I made sure that I cut the rickrack so that it would flow to the next color that in the order. And this is where I completely lucked out, because at the end of this rickrack, it almost came, like if it was just like an inch shorter, then the rickrack would have met up perfectly. But it's still pretty close. And now, from afar, you can't really tell that they didn't match up. It's perfect. I fully intended on this dress having sleeves, and when it came time to decide what kind of sleeves I wanted, I ended up deciding I didn't want any sleeves. So I'm just taking some leftover gray bias tape and putting it over the edges. on a second. Did you see that? Rewind it. You seen what just happened. Okay, so we're going back to the roots of my plan, which is to have an underskirt. And that's exactly why I wanted to have an underskirt, because I didn't want my underwear to be visible. But when I tried on the dress while I was making it and I twirled in front of the mirror, I remember actually being disappointed because the circle skirt wasn't flaring out as much as I wanted to. And that's when I determined, okay, I don't need an underskirt. So I X'd out the underskirt. Turns out I need it. So I have some black here. It's going to have just one seam, and the seam's going to go on the back, and that's so that the top portion of the seam can open for the zipper, because the back of the skirt has about 5 inches of zipper on it. And then after that, it should be fairly easy to attach it to the skirt. And I don't know right now if I'm going to attach any ribbon or anything to this yet. We'll see. But